listeners, Harika here, and I'm super excited to welcome you to UppTalk. If you're ready to learn and get your hands work wonders in the world of information technology, then you're in the right place. When I say UppTalk, we are not just another edtech company. Consider we are your learning partner committed to unlocking your full potential. Whether you're stepping into the world of technology for the first time or looking to advance your career, we provide top-tier, hands-on courses to build up your career. Let's take our first step towards learning here and explore it.
Or let's jump into our API. There are certain tools, certain prerequisites that we have to complete before we start with the AP. I call the first thing that we will have to do is creating install packages. Or now let's start creating a install package. First, in the second tab. Under the apps, we have the install packages. Here we can create the packages. We will talk about why this package is required. Yes, Akhil, you were able to say something. Sir, in this app manager, can we download the app? Sir. App means this like Marketing Cloud in App Manager. Yes, we can do it. We can install applications from the App Exchange. Sir, is it in Marketing Cloud also, sir? Only in developer mode, only, sir. I don't get that. In developer mode. It is also their same App Exchange for dashboards, reports, campaigns. They're also this like Analytical Studio, some of the things. You mean in Sales Cloud? There is Sales Dashboard there now, sir. Process Builder. Yes, I understand. We have them in the Sales Cloud. And it's the same concept here as well. We have App Exchange. We can find the application. In this Marketing Cloud, you can after this class. Is it there for a developer and another admin also, sir? For this one after Marketing Cloud. Only Marketing Cloud, only, sir. As this class is only for the Marketing Cloud, Akhil. We don't focus on the Sales Cloud or Service Cloud. This is purely on Marketing Cloud. Sir, how many types of Salesforces are there, sir? Type-wise, there are plenty of products, Akhil. That majorly now, which is quite popular from Salesforces, is Sales Cloud Service, Cloud, Community Cloud, Marketing, Cloud Finance, Cloud, Health Cloud. There are plenty of them. We were talking about creating an install package. This install package is something that we will have to create it whenever we have to create the credentials for the third-party system to connect into a system that when we need this install packages. Now, since we are going to interact with the Salesforce Marketing Cloud from a third-party tool using an EPA call, using a residence of EPA calls, we are going to interact with SFMC in order to interact. We need the credentials, which is called as client ID, client secret, and all of them. That's something we are going to create now. With that credentials, we can start using them in the Postman. Here I'm in the install package. In the install package, let's click on create. I just gave a random name here. Once we create this package, they are the type status source code package IJBOB, the JSON, web token, signing secrets, and all of these information are created automatically by default. This has nothing to do with our AP, I calls. We don't need this during the AP, I call and all of them. And here we have these details automatically created and we have access. This package is licensed for Analyst Account ID. You cannot license this package for any other business need at this time. There are some situations when we create these install packages. I can share this install package with my other business unit. Since I have access only to this business unit, we all of us have access only to this business unit. We will not be able to share it, but if you have access to multiple business units, yes, we can then share these packages with other business units. Perfect. Now, here we have the components, which is something really important for us. When I click on Add Component, there are plenty of components that we see here. Here we have a Marketing Cloud app. Here we have a Juni Builder activity, Juni Builder entry source, and all of them. Each and everything works in exactly the same way, If I give you an example for once, what we are going to be focusing is on APIs, which is something really important and we use it quite frequently. Top of the line APIs, we use only the server to server 95% of the time we use only this. We don't use the web app or public app and all of them. If I give you an example, probably in one of this component type, custom content, blog, and all of them. Suppose if I just pick up this Juni Builder entry source, we have a data extension as entry source. We have a sales source data as an entry source. We have an even AP. I call inbound chat. We have plenty of entry sources. But I want to use my own entry source in my Juni Builder. I want to use my own entry source. Maybe the CRM which I use is not a Salesforce. I would like to use the CRM data directly as my entry source. All we just have to do is we just need to get in touch with the third-party system owner. And we have to ask them to create the subdomain for the particular tool. The subdomain is something that we cannot create. This is something that the third-party system owner has to create it. Suppose if I just click on next, here we have a name description, endpoint URL. This domain is the URL which will allow us to connect to the third-party CRM. Now let me give you a best example here. In case if I have to start accessing my Facebook account or Instagram account, what's our initial step? I need the URL for it, wafacebook.com. And that is my endpoint URL. It's not something which, if I have the URL, I can just directly start using my CRM here. we have to configure a couple of things like the third-party system. We need to give authority to Salesforce Marketing Cloud when we are coming from a certain subdomains. When we try to access this particular CRM tool from a particular domain from a Salesforce Mark subdomain, it will allow us to enter into a tool, and then we can start using the different data tables we have in the CRM, and then we can start using them as an entry source. And this is how exactly it works. If I give you an example for this, everything, whatever we have, it pretty much works the same way. We need a subdomain. We can also call it as an endpoint. That's something that we needed. Here is a custom content block. In case if you like to create your own custom content block, here we have the name, description and endpoint, URL. Here if I say Google description, Google or Google coin. I'll give you a best example for this. In my previous organization, I tell you how we have implemented and used this custom content block. Some of my colleagues used to create email templates in a different tool. And they save all the templates in that tool. Whenever they have to send out the email from Marketing Cloud, they just log into that tool and copy that entire HTML and paste it in an email template. They just paste the entire HTML and entire source code. And then the email will be created and they'll send out the email. And it was a time-consuming task because they have to copy that and they have to paste it in a Marketing Cloud, create a template, and then send it out. And what we have done, it is we connected that tool directly in the Email Studio. Whenever they have to create an email, there will be a new custom content block will be created. They just have to drag and drop them into an email template. And then, because we have given the endpoint URL, which will take directly to the third-party system, like the tool that we use to create the email templates. And they can just start accessing straight away. Now I think it is asking for HTTPS. Now simply, I've just given wow Gurukum. I just saved this custom content block. Now if I go back to the Email Studio, just giving a URL is not enough. We need to do a little bit of configuration, but it's not our responsibility. This is something that the third-party system of an owner has to do it, where he or she simply has to give access to the certain tool, certain subdomains. As a Marketing Cloud, we will be trying to get access to this particular tool from a certain domain. They just have to configure. It will allow us to access the tool successfully. Let's open the email template. And if we open the email template, we should be able to see that a new content block which might have been created for us. If I just open this and randomly opening an email. Here, we should see a new custom content block created for us. I can see this content block here. I can start using this content block into my email templates. Of course, if I just drag and drop them here, it will start loading and then it will start accessing the particular tool directly here. In case if I have to access a tool like a Salesforce Marketing Cloud, we need the endpoint. It will take to the endpoint. Here the customer can in fact give the username and password, click on connect, and then they should be able to see their templates, which they have created. They can just drag and drop those templates into our email templates, and then they'll be able to send out the email as well, like from a marketing cloud. This is a perfect example of how we can create custom content blocks, custom entry sources for Johnny Miller, custom flow control like in Johnny Builder. That's all something that we can do. Let me just delete this, then add the component again, or AP I call. Unable to delete this component. Maybe it's because it's using here. I think the one which I have created is this. I'll delete this custom block. Now I know sometimes Marketing Cloud is strange. Let's add a new component now. Here we go with our AP I call. In the CP interpolations, we go with the server to server, which is something that we quite frequently use it. Here in this server to server properties, we give a scopes for third-party system. Now we are creating this install package and we are adding this server to server properties because these scopes is something that we are giving to a third-party system. Suppose if I give access to read, write and send access, that means a third-party system can read my emails, write my emails and also send my emails. OTT is your group connect. If you have your WhatsApp or if you have your WeChat integrated, this is the step. If you'd like to give an access to read it, yes, I can. Sir small dot is a marketing cloud given access by company only, sir. Marketing cloud access given by. It means I am asking for sales for marketing cloud. The access is given by company or our cell phones. Access is means for creating. They give a no, sir. One ID and password by company only, sir. Yes, company in the sense, what do you mean? When you join an organization, there will be administrators. You request for access, and then they'll give you a Salesforce Marketing Cloud user rights for you. Sir, without the organization, can we do like that in a puzzle? Without what? Without organization, we are not an organization, sir, but we have to want Marketing Cloud. Is it possible, sir? No, how that will be possible, Nikhil? Because we don't. It's not a public application where we can create an account. Each and every account that we have is connected to a business. We will have different roles for each and every account like administrator, consultant, developer, and all of them. Without their help, we will not be able to start accessing the marketing cloud. Oh, Now we have these scopes for push, SMS, social web, and all of them. We have majorly like one license, which is like an email. I'll probably give them access for reading, writing, and also sending. Whichever is something not relevant. We can skip that because third-party system may like get access to these tools as well. Like if we give access to whichever is not required, we can avoid them here. And assets? Yes, for sending out the email. They may probably have to read the documents, images, and save the contents that we have in the content builder and read, write, and execute the automations. Read, write, execute, stop, activate, and all of them. But I don't want to give them access to delete my journey. We can also give access to audience list and subscribers, marketing cloud connected extension, obviously tracking events. And the rest of them like we don't need it. This is for like even notification, have mobile deep link provisioning, and all of them just not required. One tip here, whichever is something that is required for third-party system, we can usually consult with the third-party system owner and we can come up with a solution for all the tools they may need access. And then we create this code. We usually don't give access for them to like all the channels, all of them, definitely. Whichever is required, we give them access and that's it. Let's save this. When I save these properties, it will wait the credentials. This is the credentials we are going to share with the third-party system owner in order to start interacting with the marketing cloud. This is same like we use an event password. Suppose if I have to access my Facebook account, I need to use an event password. Same way if third-party system need to get access to marketing cloud to those components which we have given access, like the scope we have given access, they need to start using this client ID and client secret as a username and password. When they use these credentials to connect to this domain, this is the URL like wowfacebook.com. This is a domain that the third-party system has. We use it to connect to a marketing cloud instance using these credentials. Now, whenever we send a request to marketing cloud, this is not going to be this is the same subdomain. We use it, but we use a different URL for every post or every action that we do from our third-party system. We do it through a URL we posted. That's something that we are going to see now. And basically, like a developer, we'll ask you also to share this subdomain. Once we create this install package, we also have to share this information with a third-party developer. We need to share this client ID client secret. They will also ask you to share this subdomain. Subdomain is the URL where they can get access to Marketing Cloud. For Marketing Cloud, for your Marketing Cloud instance, this is a subdomain which starts from EMC2TQ. This is the entire thing is a subdomain, but what we need is only this part, which is important for us. AMC22 starting from AMC22 is what we need. Let's start the URL. All the Marketing Cloud APIs and everything is going to be there in the tool L2T. We don't need this part. We need only the subdomain. Now let's go back to Postman. This is a tool which we are going to use today to start experimenting the API calls Let's open this application. I believe you may probably have this application handy in your machine as well. Now, first thing, what I will do is just probably delete these packages. And I have the collections already. We'll start from scratch. First thing, Postman is a tool which we use it to test out the API calls. That's a major purpose of the API call. We write the SOAP or ISTP. I calls here to send the request to Marketing Cloud and then we check if it's working out. It's basically a testing tool, a PI testing tool. Now, how do we add the collections in the Postman for Salesforce Marketing Cloud? In the Search tab, you can simply see Salesforce Marketing Cloud. Here we have plenty of collections which are available. Here, what we need to take is from a Salesforce developers. Here we have a Salesforce Marketing Cloud API. Just click on it. And here we have a product Salesforce, API, CDP, commercial commerce, cloud and all of them. We don't need all of this. What we need is only a Marketing Cloud API. When I use this Marketing Cloud API, this is a public glitch collection. I cannot start making changes into this. I cannot make any changes to this collection. What I will do is I'm going to duplicate this collection into my local system. Here we have something called create of duplicating. We can create a new fork label. Here we go. And then I'll just put it in my workspace and then click create collections. Now it should be duplicated into my local machine. Yes, I can see it. It's duplicated now. Now we can just give me a second. Perfect. Now the collections are duplicated or we can start using them. Here if I open, we have our REST and PPI. For using a REST, we have plenty of use cases. We will not cover all of these. We will cover only the few. And same, it goes for SOAP as well. Firstly, we need to give the potentials. We have created the install package. This information is, we need this information to start interacting with the marketing load instance. Now let's start feeding this information into a Postman tool. Here the main node, we can directly go to our variables. Here we have a subdomain line ID line security standard, MID refresh time and token access. We have all of them. We know the subdomain. The subdomain is nothing, but we start from EMC 2.2 and ends with Q to EQ. This is subdomain. It will be same here for Rusty and it will be same here for SOAP. Now let's take this. Let's put it into tool directly. We don't need this part. And we also don't need this part. Let's remove this. Copy and put it. We put it in the both columns, initial and also current. Sometimes it's not really mandatory to keep the values in the current. To be honest, if I said I'm keeping in both of those, I have experience. Sometimes I used to get some error. Now let's take the client ID, put client ID here. And then we have a client secret, client secret, client secret, and then which is a business unit that we are trying to interact. This is a business unit. We have our MIT and email. This is what we need to fill in here. Now let's save this. Here we have the save button. Now we have saved it. Now we are going to check if we can interact with the cloud instance or not. First thing, once we come to this, once we have configured these credentials, we have separate collections to test out. We can interact with the marketing cloud. When I go to path, here we have a request, SFMC token. Using these collections, we can send the request to SFMC to create the token SFMC token. This FMC token access key will be created whenever we try to access the marketing cloud. Now I'm going to body here in the body. Here we have the grant type and credentials client ID secret, and MITs will be taken from the top node. Now going forward to whichever the subnodes and whichever that I'm going to use it under this main node, it's going to use the variables which I have declared. The variables which I declared is a client ID subdomain client secret, all of them. All the subnodes is going to start using these variables or interacting with the marketing cloud instance. When I click on request SFMC here, you can see the subdomain which we have had, that it's automatically reflected here. And then we have also current open, all of them. All of these informations are automatically going to a place whenever we send out the REST API call. Now, if I send this request, if I post this request, and here we get a status call 200, and it says I can see the success token has created. Success token has created. And then token type is a bearer and it expires in 10 or 79 seconds. And I can also see the scopes that we have given. We have given a scope in Marketing Cloud. Here we have given a scope. The scope. This scope is something which we will be able to start seeing in the response as well. That this particular all and this particular SFMC token can access all of the scopes in Marketing Cloud instance. This is kind of information that we can start using these credentials for the next procedure. Here we have the token. This is something really important. This token needs to be created whenever we interact with the Marketing Cloud, and this also expires. And in general, API call SMC will be to keep on reading a new SF access token every time. We don't need to manually create the success token, all of them. It will automatically create the new access token when it takes place. Now, if I go back to main instance, I should be able to see the refresh time and also access token. For some reason, it's not showing, but it's not a problem. Two of these are like optional field. I can see now the access token, but maybe if I go back, it's fine. It's optional field. Now I can confirm that these credentials, which we have updated here, can start accessing the Marketing Cloud instance. Now let's proceed forward with the next example. You might have come across many campaigns like this. We call this as a transactional campaigns. Or we can say call it as a transactional messaging. Now the best example is when you put one on a Flipkart come, we buy a product. As soon as we buy a product, we get SMS and message saying that thank you for purchasing the product. It happens in a real time. As soon as we purchase, we get the SMS communication. This is a one use case. Second use case, probably like if you're trying to log into Facebook or Instagram come, and sometimes you may not be able to recall the password. And then you click on reset password, which will send you a link to reset your password to your email. And these also called as a transactional messaging. And another example, you go to your Facebook account and then you change your account setting. Then you change your primary email address or primary phone number and all of them. In that time also, Facebook will send a notification to your email address saying that your primary email address has been changed. Your phone number has been changed. This is based on user behavior, which will be taken to the customers. When a customer purchases, when a customer reset the password, these are all of the use cases for transactional sending. That's something that we are going to set up. This transactional sending is going to be live. We keep on running for hours. When customer is sent a contact information, they will get these communications, which will be through the API calls, which is something that we are going to configure now. The first thing, in order to set up this triggered campaign, we need two things. One, we need a data extension. Whenever we send the API call, it has to be stored in a data extension. Second thing, we need the configuration to be created. Two things. First thing is the data extension that needs to be created. That's where the customers which we push from a API call is going to be stored. Second thing, the configuration. Now let's create the data extension first. Let's go to data extension. We cannot use a normal standard data extension. We have to create a data extension using the template. Here in this folder, I create a data extension, standard data extension. But here we have to use the create method as a template. In the template, we have to pick up the triggers and data extension. All this is something that we have to use it for sure. Let's click on done. I'll keep the same name. Probably I'll make it simple. And please make sure this data extension is assignable. Otherwise, we won't be able to use this data extension at the time of API call. But I'll keep this data extension off. Whichever the fields that you would like to add extra. You can add them here like first name, last name, and all of them. I'll just keep only one field on half. We have a two fields automatically. By default created to IHS added one extra free, which is the first name. And let's wait this. Now we have this data extension ready. Let's go to Postman. Before this, we also have to wait the configuration. When I go to interaction, here we have a trigger sense. and I can see this trigger. Let's go to trigger send. Now the data extension is ready. Here under the triggered send, let's create a new triggered send from scratch. Now, this is something we know already. We have already done it. This is the same as a user initiated. No difference. We pick up the same classification. We pick up the email extension where it needs to store all the customers when we push it to AP, a call. Now let's do another name here, 2022. I'll use the transaction because we are going to do the transaction investigation. What is the email that we have to go to the customer? Or we'll open the email here. I'll just pick up the email which I have created before. I think this one, I believe it has a personalization. I'll use this email. It does not have a personalization because it does not have any subject and all of them will be throwing error. Even this may be throwing error because we have some personalization here. Anyway, fine. We'll try it out. The email is picked up. Here same user initiated. Also, we do the same thing. We pick up the same classification. We pick up the email. And then we set up this subscriber management now. We have to pick up the data extension which we have created. It's under 10th Feb. Here I see only the data extension which is created using a template. Normal data extension. That is something it won't reflect here. This is a common mistake that most of the SFMC experts would do it. They create a normal data extension. They try to send the data the way we call it. We need to create this data extension. And then same way, like when we send out an email through this data extension where it need to be updated. Is it all subscribers or is it any of the list? And now it should also add to the existing list and also update the existing customers if they are already there. That's what we do here. And we start on the same suppression list, exclusion list, and all of them. This is pretty much we are aware of the rewrite. 10 row thing and all of them. Now let's save this to get sent. This is a configuration. This is a two-step that we have to do it for Marketing Cloud. As a Marketing Cloud expert, this is only two-step. We will do it. But now we are going to also see from a developer perspective. If you are a Marketing Cloud expert, and this is the two steps that you have to do it. And after this, the job is done. But we also do a little more extra and then see how the developer will be able to send the data from other party system. All good. This API 2022 Cricket Send is created. Now let's make this active. Let's click on Start. Cricket Send may be a call. Pre-validation errors. There are some validation error. What that means seems to be that I have some post analyzations in the email. it could be because of that. What I do is I just remove the post analyzation that I have in the email, and then we'll give it a try. This is an email which I have used it. It could be because I have this percentage. I have used all of these post analyzations, and this could be the reason it is doing an error. I'll just use this email template. Someone has weighted this template. Probably I'll just use this. Let's use this email template. This email template does not have the post analyzation. We have only 3 fields in the extension: subscriber key email address and first name. There are only 3 fields. If the post analyzation does not, if it's beyond these 3 fields, then it'll be throwing an error. That's what had happened for us. Let's go back to Cricut Send and let's change this email template, and then we will activate it. It should work out for us. Here, we will use this email. Now it shows the subject line which we have created for this email. Then validation errors. I think let's do one thing. I create a new Cricut Send line. Action model. Memo content. Extension. I can see this package is sorry it's created. Let's see if I can start this. Invalidation errors. Then it's definitely something to do with the email which I'm using. Let me create one simple email without any personalizations. I'll create a new email template for this batch. I just have to make sure that I don't use any personalization. Even if I use it, it should be like I use all of these attributes which we have in the data extension. Let's save this. Let's go back to the get set. I'll use this one and I'll just click on save. Let's see if it's the same error that we get. It has been updated. Let's just quickly confirm if it's using the same email. Perfect. Now I'll try to start this. Hopefully it works this time. Now it starts working. We know that it's because of the email, because those emails which we have used before it could have been using a personalization. That was the reason it was not allowing us to activate the strip itself. Now I can see this password reset has status which it says running. And if I scroll down, there's no completed queued error in all of them. Now let's go back to the tool. Perfect. Now here, what we are trying to achieve is the transaction messaging. We have a separate collection which we have here. It's called transactional. And here what we are trying to achieve is the email. In the email, we have a different set of collections which we have like in the Postman tool itself. We have a great definition get list, get message, send status, delete message. Here we have a single recipe and multiple recipe. Suppose you would like to send an email to a multiple recipe and at a single point. And this is a collection that you can use it for sure. And here when you go to body. Here we have the information that you can pass it through a REST API. This is how the REST API calls are like very simple and straightforward. Here is the definition key. Here is a contact key. And this is your email address. This is a first name, last name. And we give all of this information straight away there. Which of it is something required? And if you are injecting multiple records, we just change the records here and then we send out the email. Pretty much straightforward. In REST, it's the same. It's very straightforward. But if you do it in our SOAP, it's going to be a little bit different. We are also going to cover that, how we will send the request through SOAP as well. Now, when I open this collection here, you can start modifying this collection again. If you know the API, I call how it really works, and this is something you will also be able to start able to edit it. Now here we have a definition key. This definition key is nothing but an external key. I need to build a system where I have to create an email. I have to use this particular to get some that I have created. Just copy this. We have to put it here as a definition key here. This is my definition key. A recipient who should get my email. This is a contact key. We know contact key is nothing but the sub-level key, and who is nothing but the email address. We don't need this message key. And in the attributes, what we have now is only first name. We don't have a document field. Let's remove this. When we remove it, we also don't need this command. Let's remove this also. Same thing. We have to do it for this contact. This is another user we are pushing to our API call. We don't need this. What is the message key? Yes, sir. What is the message key means? Another field in the data extension. No, there are some cases like this, message key. This will create the GUID. The GUID is nothing but the unique identification for every messages that we send. In that situation, this unique ID will need to be stored and we need to create this a field in the data extension. That's why we don't need them. Perfect. Here, we don't need this dar field. Suppose if the data extension which we have created in the cloud, we have only a subscriber key, we have email address, variable first name. There are some cases where you may need more fields like last name. You may need the mobile number. Sometimes we also have to send SMS communication. We need all of these fields. Whichever the fields that you need, you have a great field in the data extension. Please make sure that you have all of these fields in an API call. If the field is required, if it's a primary field, that means it should have a value. And if I try to send out some empty values, my API call will start failing because it's a mandatory field. It's quite a field in the data extension. Now let's go back. Let's create some dummy records here. Grade outcome, something like that. This is my contact key. The thing is this contact, these two addresses need to be available. Otherwise, you'll be throwing errors. Grade outcome, something like that. Usually the contact key we keep is like this. Something like this. It's up to us on how you would like to keep it. Like a random, or we just have to make sure it's like some random unique contact key. We have all of this information. First thing probably. We don't need this field. I'll remove it. Grade outcome, something like that. Simply, I'll keep some names here for the second record that we're pushing. And here we don't need this global attributes. This is something like an extra in this piece of code that we have. We don't need these attributes. It's just simple. We're just passing only two of this customer information. In case, if you have more customer information, we know it, and every time when the customer requests for password, it will be one customer. We're just seeing an example for two customers here in a single time. Now we have this piece of code which is ready. Let's post this And then let's check if it's successfully placing in the marketing cloud. 200. That means it's not completed. And let's see what is the error code. It says UTMM runtime in value of triggers and definition not enabled for the suite. Let's try to resend this. There's definitely something wrong with the script that we have triggered. Is there anything that I have missed here? Name or good? Let me see this collection. We have come out, come out, come out here, and all of them, that's all good. Contact key. We have the tools, we have the attributes. Let me give a try here. Let's do this. Contact key. The tool needs to match exactly. Email address are just 2. Google email address. Who is the email address? This is by default. We keep it here for subscriber key and email address. Absolutely doesn't need to be like exactly how we have it. Extension. This will be taken as a subscriber key and this will be taken as an email address. One thing that we have to customize is the first name, last name, and all of that. We have already done it. I believe the first name. Let me also check. If I have a first name exactly same way, because that also. Any address for us. Pretty much same. Let's give it a try from here. The definition key is this. I know what is the error. What is the mistake that I have? It doesn't have it here. This plan field, which I don't have it. Let me give a try with this. It's sending the request. Maybe let me give a different collections. I think I'm doing it wrong. This collections is something I can use it for journey building. I think I've done a mistake. I've used the wrong API collection. All will come to this collections. We use this collections here. Instead of this collection, I use this collection. This also gets sent. Both of them are not to get sent, but this is from the email studio. And I've got a good set. This one is from the sorry. This transactional messaging is from the Johnny Builder. In the Johnny Builder, we have a multi-step, we have a single step, and we have a transactional messaging. For that, we have to use this one. I've used it currently, but pretty much same. Everything works in the same. Let's use this one. This is something we were supposed to use it by mistake. Now same configuration. I have to do it here in the body. Here we have a lot of fields. We have the subscriber key here. We have this address. Address represents the email address. Subscriber key represents the other subscriber key that we have in the data extension. What we have is only first name. We don't need any of these fields. Let's remove it. The only field that we have is the first name. Just put the exact same field here. Don't let this come off. Subscriber key, I'll just use. Some unique subscriber key here. An email address. We don't need this from address. From address is basically like a record. From where I mean this is nothing but the sender profile. But we have already picked up the sender profile. In the transactional configuration, which we have done it, we have already picked up the transactional sent classification. We don't need this part. I'll remove this one field. This is something not required for us because we already used the transactional classification here. Now let's send this request. Before we send this request, we need to update this external key. Let's take this external key and we need to put it here in the URL. We have to replace this part. Now this API call is going to trigger these customers using this definition key. Let's send this. Now I can see a request saying accepted. The recipient, it will always create the recipient's an ID. Using this, we will also be able to check the status of the message. And here it says errors and the message also says queued. Now let's take this in case if you like to check if the message status, the status of the message, if it's being delivered or something like that. You can copy this recipient ID. Then there you have a separate collection for it. You go to body and then here in the body. When I go to body, here I can put this recipient ID here. And then let's click this external key that needs to be replaced here. Now let's send this. Now I can say this 200 status is on the recipient ID which we had triggered. It says the status is good. Now, if I come back to Marketing Cloud, I should see one customer in a queue status. At the same time, my data extension should also see one record. I can see one record has been created. If I go to records, this is the subscriber key, this is the email address, and this is the first name. And if I go to transactional here, I should see one customer in the queue status. Yes, I can see them. Within a couple of minutes, it will become completed. Marketing Cloud will not immediately get an email with the customer. It will take some time. It works in a transactional which has to be worked in a real time. If that's it just for the initial phase, it will be like a queued and then you trigger an email. But in the real time, we don't usually see any difference. It will just send out the email in real time. Perfect. This is how we have this queue of one customer. And this one customer will get this email with a link to reset the password. This is how we can start using them through the EAP configuration. Now here in the EA Postman here we have, if I go to trigger send now, there is a nifty feature in this Postman tool. It will create the code snippet for all the languages. If I go here, we have a code snippet. Suppose let's imagine that your website probably might have been created using different languages. It may be a PHP, it may be JavaScript, it may be C#, it may be HTTP. It may be any of the script that a developer might have used to create your landing page. Suppose, let's imagine that your landing page has been created using Node.js. When you pick up your particular language, it will create a piece of API automatically. This is one of the best nifty features that we have in Postman. Now you don't need to write a piece of script like in your landing page. What you have to do is now, the objective is to reset the password for the customer when they don't remember. You can just simply copy this entire piece of code and then you can just place this piece of code where you have to trigger this. Where we usually trigger in the landing page. When the customer doesn't remember, they may click on password or reset password. Now let's say they click on reset password. It will ask for the email address to send out the link to reset the password. When the customer gives a reset email address and then click on send reset link, then we have to run this piece of script. We have to place this in the landing page. When we place the script exactly at the submit button, the script will be triggered and this email address, whatever the customer that they have filled it, it will automatically take it. It will not automatically take it. We have to do the request parameter. Do you remember the request parameter session that we had in the cloud page? It will pull the parameter value from the URL and that will be stored. Whenever a new customer requests for a password, their email address, their subscriber key will automatically be created here and then it will send the request to Marketing Cloud. And then Marketing Cloud will trigger the email to the customer with the reset link. This is how it works for us. And this is really a great advantage. This is one of the great advantage of using a Postman, that it helps to create the scripts for multiple languages. Even if I say like Python, it will create the Python script for us. I can just start using this directly at the submit button in the landing page. When this is called, it will be sending a request to Marketing Cloud directly. This is how we trigger the password and all of them through AP. I hope far it's clear. Please stop me at any point of time if you have any questions. Now, there are different transactional messaging that we do with. Here, if I go to journey, and probably let's refresh it, might have been completed. It may be doing errors. It could be one of two reasons. Let's see if this is complete. There are not. Meanwhile, let's open a journey window. I will request you to give a try and see how it really works. This may be something really interesting for you to try it out also. Now I can see it's completed. That means the customer has received the email to reset the password. It just probably takes some time for first email to trigger. But after that it will happen in real time. If it's coming through a landing page and all of them, this is how we set up this RAS API. I call. REST API calls are pretty much simple and straightforward, and it's very easy to write it. All when you compare it with a SOAP. SOAP is something that we use, it's a ML. And then we define all of these credentials in the API call, and then we create the properties and all of them. A SOAP is something that we use it majorly, or all of this, our transactional communication, all of them, because it has a lot of advantage. You can achieve the customization. That's something that you can do with SOAP and role addresses, something like advanced. But it's very easy to write, but there are some customization that we cannot achieve. All. Now what we can see is this transactional. This is also pretty much the same. It's a good send. Whatever that, we have done it here. They are writing the emails also. This is also pretty much the same. You set up your email here in the API IUN. Here, when you click on it, it will ask you to create a definition key. This is a definition key that you need to give in the API. I call. This definition key, and then we pick our data extension. This data extension has to be the one which you have created. Let's pick up the same D itself. It will show only the triggers and data extension of the normal data extension. Now the data extension and definition key is selected. Let's copy this here. If you go back to Postman, here in the transactional messaging, we just have to put the definition key here. And then when you go live, when you pick up the email, when you activate it using this definition key, the API call will be triggered and this data extension will be key populating, and then customers will also get the email. This is also the same use case, but we do it from a journey. This is also something that we can use it for purchase. When a customer purchases a product, we can create an email. When customer would like to reset the password, when customer updating users data, and all of them. This is all something that we can do it to put an email in. This is also pretty much same, but instead of an external key, we will use a definition key here. This is an important key which is required. We don't need to change anything in the URL like how we used to do it. This will automatically. We just have to pass this information and it will take care of it. Great. Let's jump into the next use case. This is going to be same for SMS also. When you create this SMS, triggered SMS, it will also create the unique ID. That's the ID. We have to use it for a good SMS. We can easily relate it to transactional. Under the SMS, send a message to a single recipient. Here's the Google body. Here's same definition key. That's what is required. You just have to put this definition key and then we can pass the relevant fields. Then it will be successfully sending the information to the customers. And here we also have to define the content. Please click on a particular link here to reset your passport, or this is your one-time passport. You can also create a one-time passport and then you can send it. Perfect. Let's go and see a couple of examples, and it's going to be same for creating a records also. Suppose if you have to add records into your marketing cloud. You can give a unique contact key and then you can give an email address. And then what is the email address value? The value is add on clicks at the rate of Salesforce HTML enabled. And what is the value? We are just basically pushing the information through a PI. In case, if you need the part from the email address, if you need the first name, same way, like we also have value here. First name value. First name is going to be first name and then value is going to be mark. That's how we pass the information. Now let's jump into SOAP. We have plenty of interesting concepts. But here it works a little bit slightly different because here we use the XML and also the credentials. Let's see an example of creating a data extension. First, let's go to body. Here, if you look at this, it looks a little more complicated than at least because it has the XML. This XML, let's not talk about it. This is a different language. But basically this XML will have all the API information which we will pass through here. Like if I just carefully look at here, we have a C. We are passing the HTTPS. It is taking the etsfp command which we have given and it is taking the access token which we have already created. And we are just basically taking the information which we would like to pass it along with the API call. That we are passing through an XML. This part will be automatically created in the Postman. We don't need to worry about it. What's something really important for us is this. You may see that it's really huge. It's simple, but when we just start looking at it, it's very simple. Here, what we are trying to do is creating a data extension. And what needs to be the customer key? A customer key is nothing but the external key that we have in the data extension. Some 16 or 20 digits. That's the one, the customer key. Suppose if I say something randomly, this is going to be my external key for the extension. This is going to be the name of the data extension. I'll probably say, this is some data extension we are creating. These are all fields like a subscriber key and all of them. I'm making that as a primary key. That's why I defined here. Here, if I scroll down under fields, there are plenty of fields that has been created. We have the pass, all of them like to obey it. First name, last name and all of them. Whichever the fields which you may not need it, you can remove them here. You can pass. Suppose if you need a new field like all put together, you can also just type a piece of script like a field. And then start writing the field like a customer key name field. Type all of them and then just close this field. That's something that we can do it. Now let's send the request to SFC to create this data extension with this external key. Let's send this request. It says the state is 200. And if I look at this status here, it says data extension created. It should say data extension created. Data extension created status message and status 200 is like it's successful. Let's go back to Marketing Cloud and see if it's created the data extension. Here we have that I should be able to see because I did not give any location. Let me just shut them out. It's a date. Here is my data extension which I have just created. Now through AP I call. If I open this, I should be able to see all the fields. I can see all the fields which we have created from the AP I call. This is how we play AP I call. And if it's required to create a data extension, we send this. And then whenever we push the records, once the data extension is created, we use this external key to send the records, like we're going forward. And then what? If you have to create a data extension in a particular location in Marketing Cloud instance, you need to know the location of a particular folder in Marketing Cloud. For that, we have a separate collection here if you go to body. It's going to be the same XML script. Here in case, if you like to pull, you would like to try to understand the location of a data extension. Suppose let me say go to the extension folder. Here, this is a folder I would like to create a data extension. What I do is I copy this. Let me open this. I need to create an external key. This is an external key. Let's copy this external key. And I put it in the Postman. A customer key is nothing but the external key. Customer key equals this one. And let's send this request. It will bring the location of a key extension. It's called object ID. Now the object ID is not showing. What is the AP? We have included object ID. It's not showing the exact location. That's the reason I was wondering why it's not showing the exact location, because there are certain things that we need to add here. In order to get the customer, in order to this location of this particular data extension, we need to use certain properties. I also recommend this Marketing Cloud API page, which is super useful. And this is something that we use. This is going to be like a Bible. Whenever you are trying to engage with your Marketing Cloud instance through APE, we use this article very much. Webpack. What are we trying to work on is on the data extension. Here is a data extension object, and here we may have plenty of properties. Here we have plenty of properties. Different properties. Now, if I just look at these properties, in order to specify the location of a folder, I need to use this property. This property will give you. It tells you where this particular data extension is located. We use this. Let's copy this. I'm going to add this field property here in the software. I'll save properties and the ID, and I'll close these properties. Now let's save this and send it. Now this property will bring and tell us where exactly this data extension is located. This is a category. This was something which is missing before. Suppose if I have to, this is the number of this data extension where it's located in marketing flow. This is the location. For each and every location, it has a unique identification. That is this identification number. I can just simply copy this here and there, and the ID. Suppose if I have to create a data extension in that particular folder, what I would say is I just put them here directly. I can add it simply here. I can add them. I'll just Now let's create this data extension. It should be like a 200 state as always. A Toto data extension created. Now if I go back here, now I can see this data extension created. And if I open it, should have the external key as what I have given there. Here's how we can see how we can create a data extension in a particular folder. Same way, I think it's pretty much simple and straightforward again. If you are updating or creating a data extension and all of them, we can definitely just use this. The piece of code slipper, and then you can just place it wherever that you have to call it in the landing page. And then it will definitely trigger this action. And then it will be able to create a data extension or update a data extension immediately. Perfect. Let's see one last example for automation. Here we have create, retrieve, perform, and all of them. Here also same. We just have to. This example is again going to be added by default, and we are including all the properties, whichever that we are trying to pull from API call. In case, if you need to add any more properties extra, you can again go back to the URL Probably I'll share this in the chat box. Could you please cover approval process in Content Builder? New approval process. We need administration rights, and I don't have administration rights, and also it is part of administration. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do it, and for that, even if I have to cover it, I don't have administration rights. For the content approval rights, that's something that we won't be able to see. Perfect. Here in the objects, we have automation. In the automation, there will be a lot of properties. We will start using these properties and will know more about these properties when we start pushing and creating an API call. There are some API calls. Sometimes we need the created date, sometimes we need this assertive property. That's when we keep adding these properties into an API call and then we do it. We need to know what are the properties that we have in automation. And that's why we use this API call like the website, which has all the information. If I have to use this property, and what is the information it is going to retrieve from the API call? I have all the information. That's why we use this website very much whenever we're working on the API side of it. Here in Automation Studio, what's different? We have something called Program ID. This program ID brings a value. This is some B. We did it for data extension. In order to find out the location of a particular data extension, we have to use a category ID. In the automation for Automation Studio, it's a program ID. We need also the fastest property here. And then, if you would like to retrieve some automation, and same way, each Navy automation has the unique key, the key value. That's what we have to take it and then pass on in the API call. Let's take one automation and then we'll see one last example and then we'll wind up for today. And then we'll take up our questions. And then in the next session, I think we won't be able to cover the AMP Script and SSJS with the time that we have because it's only like 45 minutes left. I'll just pick up anything randomly here, suppose. Probably I'll just take this one. I'm randomly taking something. When I open this automation, it has an external key. If I just copy this and put it here, its time of key equals this external key. And I copy it and send it. It will bring and shows the name of a data extension. It's a bad request, which is a blank, simple filter here. Program ID is there. External key is there. This is an automation. Let's send this. It's still throwing an error. Simple filter program ID. This is all good. Using the URL for post. This is the only object that I have property I have added. Let's remove this and then I'll give it a try. Ouch! Now it shows the toTransact status. And it has brought the name of a data extension. But oh, it's not. Object ID is still a nil. I'm just trying to figure out what is wrong that I have done. I think I did not put the slash, I believe. I did not put this slash button. All I guess. I can see now toTransact status. I should have created the object ID. Object ID is nothing, but it represents the location. Now it says it retrieved. Now suppose if you have to perform any automation, it's going to be the same procedure. I can go on to perform automation. Here in the body, I just have to give the particular name of the object ID here. Perform subdomain. Here is the object ID that has created. I can just put the object ID which has been created here, copy it, and then if you put it here, the particular object ID, it will perform that particular automation directly. I just have to take this. Let's copy this. And if I just put it here, let's try to send this. It should have a toTransact status. Otherwise, external industry is working. All good. If I go back to it, should start running now. I can see it's running. This is how we like trigger, like the way the AP I call for performing the automation or a journey. It's going to be the same procedure. All we need is a very important thing is external key, because in each and every component that we have in the marketing cloud, it's going to work unique identification for it. It will have a unique external key. That is the unique external key which we will have to use it whenever we send the request to AP I call. Now I can just directly put this piece of code anywhere. Probably we may not use this code snippet for automation, but it has an option already for it. But I can't really think of a use case for automation. I mean a code snippet for automation, but probably we may use it for clearing a data extension. There are some cases we clear a data extension quite frequently. Once in a day, 2 days once we clear a data extension. Automatically in that situation, we can also use this perform clear data extension. Again, we just have to give the external key and then it will take care of it. We just have to give the external key and then this will be clearing the data extension records. Sometimes we clear the records in a regular interval. Every day, 12 in the midnight, we clear it off. We can use different use cases with this AP I call for doing multiple setup, multiple campaigns. But what I would suggest is this is a really important article. If you are probably working on a business unit use cases and for API call, Obviously, like we need to look at these properties, what we have here, and we mainly need to use it. Some cases, like you may have to create a data extension exactly like a business unit. I cannot like just add the clear data extension. We need the business unit ID. When we just scroll down here, we have many fields here. We need to find out the relevant properties, which is something required, and then we can create them. We can start pushing the records or creating a data extension, and all of them, like using the properties which we have for this business unit. We need to go through each and everything. We'll be able to find out some unique identification for business unit using that we can pass. We can add just one property, and then if we create only the particular data in the particular business unit and in that location. We need to. This is something that I usually also share it with the developer. I mean, this is something that it's not that we always do it. It's whatever that we have done now. It's a part of a job that a developer does it. But we don't usually work on it like on a Postman and all of them. We never work on it like in Salesforce Cloud unless if you're a hardcore developer. Otherwise, this is something which is probably not required. If you are playing a role as a consultant or campaign specialist or administrator, the process will be stopped when you have created installed packages. And we just share the information with the third-party system owner. After that, we won't just like work on like any other steps that we have followed in the Postman. Perfect. All any questions? That's it for my side. On the API side, I'll leave this. In order to add this collection into your Postman account, just search this and then you should be able to find it. And then you can just like replicate this into your local machine and then you can start using this for sure. I guess you mentioned about auto suppression. This auto suppression, there are multiple ways. We can do it through API call or we can do it through SSJS where it will fetch the records. Apparently, what you have to do is you have to just make sure that you keep all the customers in a data extension. Now it's up to you. How do you bring that data? Who needs to be suppressed? It can be like an import to a data extension and then you import through automation. You import the data through Automation Studio, which all customer. That needs to be suppressed. And then you write a simple SJS query to update the auto suppression, the suppression list. It will happen at real time. Not in a real time. It will start happening in an automated schedule that you have configured. Every 30 minutes, it will be keep on checking if there are any customers need to be suppressed, and then it will keep on adding to the list. This is how you can achieve the auto suppression. But here what is something you have to configure is you have to bring the data first. Who needs to be suppressed? And once you get this data, and then you can add it to the suppression list via SJS query. That you can also do within the Automation Studio directly. And even you can use SQL. But most of the time, like if you use a data extension as a suppression list, and data extension is SQL is more than enough. But if you use the suppression list that you have created, then we need to use SSJS. There is no other option. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. For more information, contact us sales@uptalk.com.